Where's my audience? One person is able to donate up to 8 different organs if they elect to become an organ donator. So essentially, one person is able to save the life of 8 different people. In an article from The Telegraph in about 2017, a young girl told her parents that she would like to become an organ donator if she ever passed away. Unfortunately, she died of a brain hemorrhage at 13, but was able to save the life of 8 other people from her organ donation. This is why I decided to choose this topic, because I believe that organ donation is something that everybody can do in an easy way, and it provides so much good for other people and gives them a second chance at life. Throughout this speech, I'll talk about the need for organ donors and some numbers that relate to that, as well as how you are able to take the steps to become an organ donor, as well as myths that people believe when it comes to organ donation, maybe the negative aspects on why they don't want to become an organ donor, and then touch on what the world would be like if everybody decided to become an organ donor. So we'll go into the need for people to become organ donors. On this slide, which you can't really see well because it is too bright, but here's some statistics from the U.S. government on organ donation. I'll go through a couple of them. As of January 2019, more than 113,000 people were already on the National Transplant List. Every 10 minutes, another person is added to the waiting list. 20 people die each day waiting for a transplant. And another interesting fact about organ donation is that only 3 out of 1,000 deaths can result in organ donation. And this is because you have to die at the hospital so that they're able to keep your heart pumping so that they can preserve the organs for donation. So it's obvious of the need that we have for organ donation and why it's important for so many people, or why it's important for everybody to become an organ donor. Next, I'll go through the steps that you can take to become an organ donor. One easy step is everybody has access to the internet, most everybody. You can just go online and register to become an organ donor through your state. Or when you go to renew your license at the DMV, they ask you a question and it's, do you want to become an organ donor? Simple answer is yes. Super easy ways. You can also, if you already are an organ donor and maybe you have some friends that aren't, or that are don't really know a lot about it, you can provide that information and tell them about the good that they can do if they become one. And you can do this by using social media. There's so many ways that you can talk about that to others and get that information spread out, and that's through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of those platforms. Maybe also go through the negative aspects of why people might not want to become an organ donor. One of those is if doctors know that you are an organ donor, they won't do as much to save your life in the event of you dying, and that is so far from the truth. That is not even how the doctors, that's not at all what they would do. So that's a myth. Religion doesn't support organ donation, which that's also not true. Most main religions line up with the organ donation belief. Also, another negative concern is that people just feel uncomfortable talking about death and they don't want to plan for it, which is completely understandable. Nobody wants to plan their death. But if you can do some good and bring happiness to others in the event of your death, which you can't help, then why not make that right decision? If everybody in the world decided to become an organ donor, I believe that this would help so many more people, because there are so many organs that can be donated after death. The heart, the liver, kidneys, lungs, pancreas, small intestines, tissues, your eyes can be harvested and given to other people. Interesting story about that from the New York Times. A mother had gone blind after an eye disease that she had, And her 2 children grew up, and one day her 13-year-old son unfortunately was hit by a car and died. And from his organ donation, his mom got one of his eyes and was able to see. So she was able to see her at that time 9-year-old daughter after not ever seeing her, and also see pictures of her 13-year-old son who was a baby when she went blind. So that just shows you how good this can be for some people. And also another great way that we could move towards organ donation is an article that I read from the LA Times, where they discussed how other countries basically have an opt-out policy. So from the time of your birth, you are automatically an organ donor unless you choose to sign up on a government-regulated list where you do not want to become an organ donor. So that's an option for you, but right from birth you're already an organ donor. So they don't have to worry about people either not having time to sign up or just not saying yes at the time or not being sure. They just already are. And I think that would be a great policy to implement in the US so that everybody becomes an organ donor. So obviously the need is there. The organ shortage just keeps continuing to rise. There's some specific numbers on that from 1991 up until 2017 that just continues to grow and grow and grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger. Let me get this closer to the screen so you can see that. So the need is there, and the steps to become an organ donor are so easy. It's not like it's a difficult decision. It might be a difficult decision for some, but it's not a difficult step to take if you are already informed and you want to become one. So I want to leave you with this perfect quote that I think relates to this topic. And it's from Dr. Amit Abraham, who is a professor. And he said, "After I die, if I am buried, I will rot. If I am burnt, I will become ash. But if my body is donated, I will live to give life and happiness to many." There is my eye.